you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who's going to be an asset to your client, not even just for you or become, it's literally for your client, right? They may become a client, but this is really for my client. So getting up and going to networking events, like if I'm on Instagram and I may see a journalist, I may see somebody that's in the same industry as my client, I'll follow them, I'll introduce myself, I'll introduce our company and stuff like that, you know, but taking that initiative and not waiting for things to come to my door. And I think that's where businesses fail, because so many times we sit here waiting for things to come to us. And it's like, the more you're sitting waiting for something to come to you, it's going to go past you.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives, just like you, on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here with me, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show description to join our community. And I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. What I like to do is something called the Friends in Beauty Friday feature, where every Friday I spotlight a different friend in beauty and their accomplishments. So no matter how big or small you think it is, I want to shout you out. I want to send you some good vibes. So all you have to do is use the hashtag FIB Friday feature, tag Friends in Beauty on something that you have accomplished, and I'll share it with the community. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google, YouTube, you name it. And whatever platform you are listening from right now, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Friends in Beauty podcast. I truly appreciate you so much. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, a review, a comment, a like, a share, a subscribe, or something to let me know how you feel about the Friends in Beauty podcast. I would absolutely love it. And also, I have to tell you that you should join the Friends in Beauty mailing list tribe if you haven't already, because they are the first to know about all things Friends in Beauty, and I send out different business resources, tips, and advice throughout the week. So if that's something that you're interested in, the link for that will be in the description as well. And last but not least, the most important thing is to share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, anybody that you think could benefit from the information that is being shared. Share away to help me grow the Friends in Beauty community. Now, on this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome the founder and CEO of Umanagement, Strategic Communications and Public Relations, Milan Mobley, to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. Milan is the publicist behind some of my favorite guests on the Friends in Beauty podcast. And with her expertise in public relations, I knew that she would be an asset to the Friends in Beauty audience. In this interview, Milan shares the nitty-gritty of what it's like being a publicist, when brands should seek representation, questions to ask when vetting a potential publicist, how brands can use public relations outside of just seeking press, tips for pitching to brands on your own if having a publicist isn't in the budget, and so much more. Milan is an all-around boss, okay? Wait until you hear her story about how she even got into public relations in the first place. Hard work and persistence is something she is no stranger to, and it definitely shows. I'm so glad that we were finally able to meet, connect, and bring this conversation to you. I had so much fun. So grab something to take some notes with, Friends in Beauty, and let's go ahead and jump into this chat with Milan Mobley. And if you prefer to watch our beautiful faces, then tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, Milan.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I feel like for the last 2 years, I've been behind the scenes emailing you. So to be here talking to you is so different.
That is so true, because I was going through like our email thread. I'm like, when did we actually start like corresponding with each other? It was like September or October 2020.
Yes. So it's been 2 years. Yeah.
Yes, I can't believe that.
I know. It's because the pandemic has made time just go so fast. Like when you think about when it first started, that was 2 years ago. So 2 years now. We've been in this virtual space.
The unknown, the sunken place.
The sunken place.
Yes. Oh my God. Before we jump into the interview, I want to start off with some icebreakers just to get like warmed up. And I also say like, just so we can get to know you a little bit outside of what you do professionally.
Okay.
Yes. So first one, give us 3 random facts about you.
Oh, this is fun. I always put 3 random facts on my Instagram, like when I introduce myself to the new followers. So let me think. Let's see. I'm a foodie. I love to cook. So I have a separate, outside of professional, like you said, I have a cooking brand. I love to cook so much. Like I almost cook, no, not almost. I do cook 3 times a day most of the time. So my fiance has breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and probably doesn't have the same meal twice.
Dang, lucky.
And if we do have the same meal twice, it's probably something different. Like I love making chicken Alfredo or shrimp Alfredo, but it'll be something so different, like a steakhouse Alfredo or an Alfredo with Chardonnay wine mixed in. So if it's the same, it's different. So that's 1. 2, I binge watched the Game of Thrones in a week.
Okay.
A lot of people think that is weird and immaculate at the same time because, you know, Game of Thrones, that was like 8 seasons and they're long. So I did that in a week. So I take pride in that. That's a fun fact. And the 3rd fact, my favorite color is lavender. People think that's weird.
I like that. That's different.
You know, and people say, why not purple? Because purple is not my favorite color. It's lavender. Like I have a specific color of purple.
That's so funny. So for the Game of Thrones thing, I totally get it. I actually didn't start watching Game of Thrones until I had to wait for the 8th season to start. So my sister and my god sister was so into it. And we went to like this pop-up bar that they had, a Game of Thrones pop-up bar in DC. We literally stood in line for 3 hours. And I was just there as support. I was like, I don't get it. Like, why are we in this line for 3 hours? So I had to watch the show afterwards. I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
What's the hype? And it's crazy because I binge watched it, and then the next week the 8th season was released, so I was like right on time.
Good.
So I didn't have any like gap space, you know. I was like right on point.
And then with the favorite color, my favorite color is mustard yellow. It's not yellow, it's mustard yellow. It's a different shade, you know.
It's a different shade, and then with the melanin, and that mustard just hits I understand. I love mustard yellow.
I get it.
I get it, girl. Okay. And do you like to cook or you like to just eat?
A foodie. So like for me, I'm not a foodie in the sense that I always say this. If I keep talking about food, like, oh my God, that was so good, that means it was like really good. Okay. Like, I'm one of those people, like it has to be totally like disgusting for me not to eat it. So I'm not like picky or anything.
Okay.
But I cook for myself, but
listen, that's better than most. Okay, let's just say that, because Uber Eats, DoorDash is some people's way of cooking. So at least you cook for yourself.
Yeah, definitely cook for myself, of course. Okay. So as a podcaster, I know you would like these. I have these pod decks that my sister got for me. This one is a would you rather deck that has like random questions. This one is a what the heck. Which one do you want? I'll pull a card for you.
I'm spicy. So would you rather?
Would you rather? And they be weird sometimes.
Okay, I think it's spicy. I like that.
And then the other decks that they have like interview decks too, that kind of give you some, like if you get stuck on like what you want to say in an interview or what topics you want to talk about on your podcast, they have like different decks and stuff. They have an app too.
Oh, send that to me because I need those. I will order today.
I love them. I love them so much. So always pick a random card. Let's see what this one is.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Okay, this is different. It's not bad. Okay. So it says, would you rather appear as a guest on your favorite TV show or have lifetime backstage passes for any concert you attend?
That's easy. TV show, because I don't really go to concerts. Now, concerts I will go to is Chris Brown and Drake. But you know, you have to wait literally 10 years for one of those to pop up. So I'm going to TV show.
Right. You probably got to fight with all the people backstage anyway to get to them.
They didn't say exclusive access. They said just backstage. Definitely the TV show.
I like that. What's the last place that you traveled to?
Oh, the last place I traveled to. Wait, so okay. Does at home going home count, or do we want like a location that's not where I'm originally from?
A location you're not from.
Okay, so the last place I traveled to that I'm not from is New York. Okay. That was for my birthday last year, because clearly I'm from DC. I'm from the DMV. So, and I'm from DC, y'all, not like the DMV. I lived in Maryland, but I'm originally from DC. Like that is where I was born, raised, all that good stuff. But I was home literally Thanksgiving, Christmas, January, February. So that doesn't count. But New York is where the last place that I've been to.
Okay. I totally did not know you were from DC. I don't know if I knew that.
Yes.
I don't know if I knew that because I always tell people the same thing. I am from DC. I live in DC, born and raised.
Okay.
When I'm with my friends that are like from PG County and we go places like international, they were like, "Oh, I'm from DC." I'm like, first of all, you're from Maryland. Okay. I'm from DC.
So you've been there your whole life?
All my life. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I left at a certain point. So, but when I was there, like I said, born and raised, I went to Holy Confidant, I went to Friendship, and then I moved to Maryland and I went to high school at Friendly. So right across the way, but I'm definitely a DMV girl for sure.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from what you do professionally? Other than cooking too, because we know you can cook, girl.
Being bossy. That sounds so bad, but they always say I'm so good at just organizing and keeping my friends on track. So they call me their bossiest friend because I'm outside of just me working in my own business. I'm always in somebody else's business. Like, no, you need to do this. No, you need to, girl, what are you doing? Did you buy this? So yeah,
I like
being
that.
Bossy.
That's a good thing to, a good bossy, not a bad bossy, but
being a good bossy. Yeah, being a helpful hand. Yeah.
When's the last time that you did something for the first time?
Oh, last month I went to Deep Creek for my best friend's birthday.
Nice.
I've never been to Deep Creek. I've never did snow tubing outside of like as a kid with the trash can, but not actual like snow tubing. So yeah, that was my first time doing that. So that was different.
That's dope. I did that for the first time last month too.
Really? When did you go?
I went so my birthday was February 4th. My best friend is the 2nd. So that weekend we went for her birthday and we did snowboarding.
How was that?
It was fun. It was I would definitely do it again. It was a challenge, but as long as you're dressed properly and everything. But it was fun. It was fun. I don't even know how to articulate it, but it was a challenge, but it was a good challenge.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, we went the 25th. Her birthday is 26th, so we left on the 25th.
Nice. Okay.
That's okay. What else you got for me?
The last one, if you weren't a PR specialist, what else could you see yourself doing?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I've really been into interior designing lately. Like that's been like my jam. Like I love decorating now. So I would probably do that. Like I think that's a good thing. And I'm a creative. So I feel like you get that creative gene still. You get to see things go from one to another. And it's so funny because that's similar to PR, right? Being creative. You get to see things go from one way to another to make your client happy. So it would be interior design probably.
Okay. I like that. I've been getting into interior design or just looking at having an eye for it, just looking at how people decorate because I moved into like my own place by myself. So I'm like, I gotta decorate this thing now. So I'm always looking out, trying to see what.
Clearly, we're twins. Look, because we have done so much alike. We have the same, not favorite color, but favorite color type. Yeah, we're twins. I'm convinced.
I get it. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Like this was like probably one of my favorite icebreaker sessions. This is fun. Yes. So like you mentioned, like we've been in communication for 2 years. This is our first time chatting like face to face, but you brought me Jaya Bolden. You got Erica and Derica on my show, Bobby Riley, Keisha Terrell. And it's so funny. I just interviewed Melissa Hibbert a few weeks ago, and she just became like the global marketing something for Inzuri Beauty. And I thought that was like so cool that it just happened like that. But tell us about you, like before you became a PR specialist, what were you doing?
Okay. So before that, I was in school for a really long time because after high school, I went to college. So clearly I was there, but I actually started in the PR industry my freshman year in college. So in the sense, I became a PR specialist literally my freshman year, but I wouldn't say a specialist because I was still very new to the industry. But prior to that in high school, I was an athlete. which is so different to now because clearly I'm nobody's athlete. I barely go to the gym lately, but to say the least, I was in high school. I was an athlete, and I went to college, and I was involved in several organizations. I became a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I was part of Student Alumni Association, so I was very much involved. SGA president, the whole 10. So that was me. Outside of that, I was working at the United States Department of Agriculture. So I was working at agriculture since 2010. Mm-hmm. And then I left 2016, 17.
Okay.
Yeah, 16, 17. I left around that time. But I was working there. I was working at Victoria's Secret. So I've always had more than just one thing going on. So here I am, organizations on campus, working at the government, working at Victoria's Secret, going to class, the whole ride, the whole thing. I didn't start Umanagement until 2015, but even still, when I started Umanagement, I was still at the government. Mm-hmm. So outside of being a PR specialist, I was folding panties and selling bras and dealing with people at the government. So yeah, that was me. Like I was literally just, a teenager, a young adult, trying to work, trying to go to school, trying to make the best of whatever it was to come, and really just finding out where I wanted to be in the end. And like I said, starting in public relations my freshman year kind of started that journey. Because when I went to college, first of all, I thought, oh, I want to be a psychology major. And then someone gave me the rundown, like, okay, well, after psychology, what do you want to do? Do you want to go get your PhD? Do you want to be a psychiatrist? And they started breaking down the realms of it. And I'm like, I just want to listen to you. I don't like this. I don't think I want to do that. So that got canceled out. Then I was introduced to the FM radio my freshman year. So I started playing around with that. And I was okay, I might have life on the radio, Then I started meeting people that's actually on the radio station, like on a larger scale. And they're like, girl, no, like it's a fight to do this. Like you gotta, and I'm like, okay, maybe not that either. Right. So then when I became the freshman class coordinator, I started being able to create strategies and build opportunities and just do different things. And I felt really secure and passionate in that. Not like I felt when it came to psychology, or not like I felt when I'm just on the radio or practicing, doing whatever. So yeah, that's when I started that. But outside of that, I was just a regular teenage girl, just trying everything out.
Yeah. What school did you go to?
First, I went to Bethune-Cookman University, and then I went to Bowie when I transferred back home. So I graduated from Bowie. That's where my best of the best was created, but Cookman definitely molded me that freshman year. So.
Got you. How did you get your experience? I guess freshman year, like what kind of jobs, I guess, or clients were you taking on as a freshman to get your experience and everything?
So literally it was a freshman class in SGA, because if you know anything about SGA, then you know that is a full-time job within itself. Like SGA is so tiring, and we have so many events that we're trying to put on, and there's different things that we're trying to do. So the first task that I had was homecoming. It was curating and just making connections for different events and partnerships that we needed on campus. So one of the things that I did was the Susan G. Komen thing. So we did like a breast cancer awareness type of event. So I contacted Susan G. Komen. We got a speaker out and everything. So that was like my first big task. So I would like to say like Think Pink Tank for homecoming was my first client, like the first real thing that I did. And it went so well, and I was so proud of it. It wasn't like grand scale, like, thousands and thousands of people, but it was just for our class. And that within itself was, like I said, it was a task. It challenged me to actually understand how to reach out to people, how to construct the emails to make things sound good, so they want to partner. So it took a lot of effort. So I take pride in that. That was my first thing.
Thank you. That's awesome. Were you already a PR major? Is that like the official name of the major, like public relations?
It depends, because some schools just have it as communications. Like with Bowie, it's communications, and your concentration is public relations. Gotcha. So what does my degree say? My degree actually just says Bachelor's of Science. So Bowie doesn't put your actual major on there, but my master's degree says Master's of Professional Studies, Strategic Public Relations.
Got you. So were you already in public relations, like majoring in public relations when you were doing the SGA stuff?
No, I was journalism in a sense, like journalism undecided. Like that's what my thing said, but I wasn't convinced that's what I wanted to do.
Got you.
So it said journalism.
Okay. So what about those experiences led you to say, okay, PR is what I want to do?
So just throughout that whole time, just being involved, like literally maybe for 6 months in SGA made me say, oh yeah, like bump journalism, bump this. Like I want to know more, because I just knew it was a lot more to it than just planning events or, having strategy for that event. It was way deeper, like how to write better. Even though writing was my jam in high school, I love writing, hence why I wanted to be a journalism major. And it's a whole story behind that. I was not supposed to be on the FM radio or practicing under FM radio. I thought when they called journalism, they meant like journalism, like the writers, not broadcast journalism. Those are two different things. And here I am, I'm like, oh, that's me. That was not me. Like I was not supposed to be right there, but I was following the fact that I love to write. Because after I bumped psychology out of my mind, I'm like, well, your girl can write. I'm gonna be a journalist.
Right.
No, none of that. So after that, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to change it, because I don't want to be broadcast journalism. I don't want to be a journalism major. I can still write in PR. It's just a different type of writing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what was your decision? What was that process of experience and I guess years of dedication that made you want to open up your own PR firm, Umanagement?
So fun fact, and I have to tell this story because everybody gets Umanagement completely confused with the management company. Mm-hmm. So needless to say, people are not necessarily wrong, but they're not right either. When I was in my sophomore year, I was in my sports management class, and we were just going through like negotiation, just like the basis of sports and stuff. Like I said, I was an athlete, so I still wanted that background in sports. So I was like, cool, I'm going to have one major as public relations and the other one is going to be sports management. Boom, we got it figured out. Uh-huh. So here I'm in the sports management class. I'm like, okay, when I get 25, I don't know why 25 was ideal, but that's what I said. When I get 25, I'm going to open my own sports agency. It's going to be called Umanagement, because we focus on you, the client. Like, that was it. Like I had it figured out. I'm like, we're gonna have different sectors on this, we're gonna have that. I had it all mapped out, y'all. I just want y'all to know I don't have a sports agency today. This whole story is relevant, but so irrelevant to the cause of where we're at now. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna create this sports agency. Time went on, of course. I was doing public relations for my sorority. I was doing public relations for the sports management club. I was doing it for the Student Alumni Association. I was doing it for NCNW, which is my other organization. So I was doing public relations every single step of the way. Now in SGA this time around, I was junior class president. I was SGA president. So I necessarily wasn't doing PR in that stance, but I was still doing a form of communications, which was communicating, networking, building this brand. Because at the end of the day, SGA is a brand. Our platform that we ran under is a brand. Mm-hmm. So it has to be built. So I'm still practicing this subconsciously, right? Not really paying attention that all of these efforts are one day I'm going to reflect back on them and think, oh, well, when I was SGA president, we did this and we did it it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. Once I graduated from Bowie, spring of 2015, I had already applied to almost 200 jobs.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
200. And it wasn't that I wasn't qualified, because while I was at Bowie, outside of just working at Victoria's Secret, working at the government, I was working at ESPN 980, which is a branch off of ESPN. I was working for a music brand. I was doing different things that was on my resume that made me more than qualified for a lot of these positions. However, a lot of them were like, oh, you need 15 years of experience, or y'all know the story. Y'all know how it goes. The unrealistic expectations society places. So they were saying that, or you need a master's degree. And I'm like, well, I'm going to George Washington in the fall for my master's degree. And in my mind, I'm thinking that should be enough. Like, I'm already enrolled, so that these are the steps. Start me at entry level. And once I get that master's, let's make some stuff shake.
No.
Nothing was moving, or I wasn't hearing anything back. And I know we can contest to that. Like, you apply, you don't hear anything back. So instead of being discouraged, I just was still working at the government. I said, okay, I'm gonna go through my master's program. I literally had no intentions of starting my company at the time that I did. I was only 21. I told y'all I was supposed to be 25. Told y'all that.
Right.
I was only supposed to have my business at this point, maybe 4 or 5 years at this point. Uh-huh. So, I'm like, okay, I'm just working. One day I woke up in the middle of the night, literally, y'all, out my sleep. Like, I had a whole epiphany. I just jumped up. I grabbed my notebook that was on the side of my bed and I called my NCNW sister. I'm like, hey sis, I'm starting my company. She's like, girl, what are you talking about? We got to be up and at work in a few hours. She worked in another sector of the government. I'm like, no, like seriously, like I'm starting my business. And she's like, what are you going to call it? And I'm like, Umanagement. It's going to be a public relations agency and we're going to offer web design. I had so many services, y'all, like services that didn't even need to be had. I had when I first started. Long story short, I built that company in 5 days. And in that 5 days, I only slept 6 hours. And I remember because I was sleeping just enough to function.
Yeah.
But I was so dedicated into starting it. So then I started the company, but it wasn't supposed to be a PR agency. It was a sports agency, but the mission, the vision of it still stayed the same. So that's why it's called Umanagement, because we are managing your brand. Yes, we are working in the best interest of it. We are PR managers, PR practitioners, but the sole focus is you, the client. And I couldn't let that go.
Yeah, I love that. It's always like stuff like that you never realize why. Sometimes people look at it as, oh, I wasted time in these classes, or I wasted time.
No.
Like you really do look back at things and be like, I'm using the skills that I was using somewhere else for this thing now. So that's the reason why I had to go, through that process.
Absolutely.
That happens so much. Like, how long did it take for you to say, okay, I want to do this full time and quit Victoria's Secret and the government and all the 50 jobs you had?
So I ended up leaving Victoria's Secret, a little bit into my senior year, because I had so much going on, literally. Like I was SJ president now, literally is a full-time job. Like you get a stipend for being SJ president. That's how much effort you have to put into it. And then I was just trying to focus on graduating. I was like, I want to make sure I end this year on the Dean's List, 4.0 both semesters. Like not Dean's List like before, like 3.5, like 4.0 Dean's List. Like that's my focus. So I was like, focus on that. So that had already been dropped off. When it came down to me leaving the government, I left year 7. So that may have been, like I said, 2 years. So that was 2017. But I was forced into leaving. I didn't actually have that plan set in stone. I was in grad school. So when I got in grad school, they made me go part-time working, because I couldn't dedicate time to both. So I went part-time. Trump got hired. I'm going to say hired, because I don't believe in elected, because that was a show. He got hired. He got hired, and they put the hiring freeze on. So by the time I graduated, the government still had the hiring freeze, so they wouldn't convert me back over to full time. So they gave me the option to stay part time for a while, with no grade promotion, which anybody knows. You come with a master's degree, honey.
Yeah, upgrade me, grade whatever,
upgrade
12 or whatever it's supposed to be. I don't know.
Okay, and I've had seniority at this point, because I've been here 7 years. So 7 years plus a master's degree.
Right.
I need to see my numbers. So they were just like, yeah, you can either stay part-time for a while and then we'll see when it comes. But I'm like, what does that even look like? What does the we see when it comes? Or you can leave, apply to be a contractor and go that way. And I've seen how contractors are done in the government, just from like the recession, like earlier, in the years prior to, people getting laid off, and just, contracts are always the first to go. And I'm like, no, like that doesn't work for me. So they were like, okay, well, you have about 3 weeks to think about it. But at that moment in time, I had already thought about it. Like that moment, I thought about it. I went home and I looked at the numbers of Umanagement, and I was literally doubling my biweekly pay at the government just off of a few clients. Like my monthly revenue was more than what I was making biweekly in total at the government. And I'm like, oh, that's what I need to see. I'm making more here than I am there. I'm leaving. So that was that final thing. So August 24th, 2017. Yeah, is when I left. So it'll be 5 years this year since I left the government.
Okay, kudos to you. That's what's up. So like, what's a typical day in the life for you, like as a PR specialist?
You saw my face, girl. What is a typical day? I don't even know. It's literally whatever the hell happens, to be honest. I have my plans that, like, okay, Mondays are admin days. It's the best way I can break it down to y'all. So Mondays, I try to focus strictly on things that need to happen in the company. So it's looking at our systems, making sure those things are right, making sure that we have our monthly reports, or whatever reports done for our clients. So everything on that Monday is strictly just admin. Now, do other things come into play? Yes, sometimes people will reach out to me and say, oh, hey, not like clients, but business relationships. Like, hey, do you have a second to talk today? Or, hey, what does your Monday look like? I'll put them on that Monday. So anything can pop up, but it's strictly admin. Tuesdays are finance Tuesdays. I always dedicate that to going through the tens of million receipts that I accumulate in a week or a month or whatever. I go through them, make sure they're uploaded in our system, because it makes my accountant job a lot easier when it's time to do quarterly taxes or whatever the case is. All of those things are in there and they're being attached. I also look to make sure if I went out that weekend, and this is an important tip for y'all, to make sure if you did go out and you did tip, that that's actually accurate. Because what happens is sometimes they'll go in and they'll give themselves a little bit more than you tip. But if you're not actively looking at your account to make sure things are proper, you may overlook them.
Right.
So I look at stuff like that. Wednesdays are content days. Content days for me look like uploading a reel or editing a reel that I recorded earlier in that week, or uploading or creating content for the brand or my clients. So that's that. Thursdays are client days where I talk to my clients. So today I was talking to two of my clients. I already did their bi-weekly calls. So those are Thursdays that are dedicated to. And Fridays are dedicated to doing whatever the hell I feel in my spirit. Because after, like ideally Monday through Thursday, I work 14 hours a day, almost.
Girl.
So Friday is the weekend. And I'm not going to say I don't do work on Fridays, but I don't deal with people.
Yeah.
I do what needs to be done, and then I'm out of here by 1, 2 o'clock.
Are you by yourself? Like, do you do everything on your own?
No. So I have somebody that handles social media. She handles it for us and our clients. I have my junior publicist, so she works. So I'm not by myself, thank God, but I do majority of it because I'm still very much hands-on in the business.
What does like PR do? Because I'm always confused. I mean, I know what y'all do as far as like when they reach out to me, but like what exactly do people need PR specialists for?
So reaching out to you in media, that's just I always like to say now, that's just the small part of the job. Because I mean, more or less, media is very, very important. Like we value them to the fullest extent, but it's not that it's media that we don't value. It's the readership. People really don't like to read anymore. If it's not like looking at it on social media, on a reel, or on a quick blog, like a shade room or something like that, it's kind of scarce, to say the least, which is sad because our journalists work so hard to produce the great stories that they produce, and it sometimes doesn't get the readership that it should. Ideally, right? So outside of that, just keeping our clients' brands up to float and looking at other ways to create visibility is something that we focus on. So we say, hey, okay, Black History Month is coming up. What type of campaign can we run to get in front of your audience, to increase sales or to increase your viewership or whatever, if it's a service to create, increase whatever they're trying to do. So what can we do campaign wise? What can we do conversation wise? If it's not a podcast interview, is it something where you can go on Instagram Live and cross market with somebody else in your industry and you be the leader in this conversation? Is it where we are looking at your communication strategies and messaging across the board and saying, hey, this messaging is not reflecting here when you're doing X, Y, and Z on this reel. Like you're saying that this is what you do messaging wise, but your reel, you're making a cooking video. How can we make this make sense? So in short, we're strategists. We're connecting the dot. We're figuring out ways to increase that visibility and enhance that viewership of the brand, making the brand more notable, making it more credible. So that's what PR is in a nutshell. A lot of publicists, do a lot of different things. Like I know some publicists who are also graphic designers and are able to create the full package for their clients. I'm not a graphic designer. I have a graphic designer on payroll that we can go ahead and pull in for you, but I'm not doing it. So PR is literally limitless. Like it's literally the machine. It's the car. You fuel the car, PR drives it.
Got you. I love that. Okay. Look, do you represent all kinds of brands, like different niches?
Yes and no. Some more than less. Like beauty is one of our top specialties. So we do have, as you know, a lot of beauty clients. So that's like our top thing. We represent small businesses, nonprofits, Fortune 500, entertainment, but not music. So we do sports, we do fashion, so on and so forth, but not necessarily music. We used to do music back in the day, but that's a service that we completely opt out in. So we do have different niches we work in, but like we have specialties.
Got you. When should brands seek PR representation? When is there a sweet spot of when it's like too soon? I guess it's never too late, but like, is it? I don't know. When is it like, when do brands?
It definitely can be times when it's too late. I mean, you've seen certain companies under hell and fire, right? And then now they're trying to scramble to get their message out, like, and they don't have that PR person. I hate saying PR person, but it's actually not the proper term, y'all. It's public relations agents or publicists, but people say PR person, but they don't have the publicist into play. So now they're trying to scramble and get it when all things have hit the fan. But ideally, you want to get a publicist when you have some things generated for yourself. You have some buzz going, you have your marketing down pat, you have your branding down pat. Now you have something to deliver to this publicist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our agency, we offer brand help and we offer marketing. So you can come to us, but we may not say, hey, you need public relations right now. We may say, hey, we need to look at your brand. We need to go in. We need to do a couple of things first before we start actually focusing on the PR side of things.
Gotcha.
You know,
so I want to ask you that too. Like, what are there particular things that people should have in place prior to, well, not prior to, but like that would just make your job a little bit easier to, you know, navigate those connections for them?
Just the deliverables, like actually, you know, having things in place. Like people will come and I'm like, okay, yeah, so let me see the packaging. Oh, we're still working on that. Okay, what about the service? How many people have enrolled? Oh, I haven't enrolled anybody yet.
Okay,
yeah, no problem. You know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing per se, because if you're coming and you're looking for that strategy to help that, then okay. But people come like that and they're looking for media.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, what are we talking about? You know, or yeah, or it's too soon to get PR when you fully don't believe in your own brand. I think that's the most important one, because a lot of people come and they know they have something good, but they don't fully believe in it.
Got you.
And
but
then they want us
to believe in it and push it for them.
So they're not working as hard as we are, or they're not showing up as they should. So that matters. But definitely having some buzz generated helps. Like actually some traction and people know about it and people are, you know, you kind of seeing that you got a thing. Like, okay, I got something here.
I kind of have a double-ended question.
Okay.
Because you did mention that, I just thought about this, but you did mention that like sometimes when people come to you, you kind of have to put those elements in place before you know, how long does that typically take? Like how long does it typically take for, like if I came on as a client today and I didn't have anything, is it like 6 months that I need to wait in order to see like a brand deal or something come my way, or some kind of, I don't know.
We always say PR is not popcorn. You can't put it in the microwave and it's not just pop up overnight. It does not pop up in seconds. Good, great PR, like real results, like the best results come after almost a year. You know, you can see them quicker, of course. Like I've dealt with, but then it's always twofold, because dealing with celebrities and influencers who have a buzz, you know, those results can come instantly. Like I get people that reach out about Bobby 24/7, you know, with no hesitation behind it. Other brands that we work with who are on a smaller scale may have taken a little longer. You know, I've had a client, he was an author and he had a phenomenal brand, and we worked with each other for a year. And in that year, he went on the international level of being interviewed, like podcasts in Canada, India, South Africa, you know, like things like that. But it was in that year that we took of building his social media presence and getting him to do like a series on social media that reflected with his book. Just different things that we took into play, that when we did reach out, we had more than just, hey, he's selling books.
Right. I like that.
You know, he's making impact. So definitely give it 6 months to a year for great results. Results can happen in 3 months. Results can happen within a week, but don't assume that is always going to be, that's always going to happen, because it's not.
Right. Do publicists help with brand deals too?
Yeah, like I said, some public, you know, everybody's different. Some don't touch that realm because they're not experienced in it, or they just don't care for it. But here, Umanagement, yes, we do help secure brand deals. Got
you. What are some questions that people or like brands should ask of their potential publicists before like deciding? Like, what are some questions that they should ask to determine like if this person is a good fit for them?
Definitely their experience. Like, do you have experience in my industry? If so, who have you worked with, or what are some of your most successful campaigns? Because a lot of times, people really don't like that "who have you worked with" question, even though it's a harmless question. But tell me about your most successful campaigns. That's a good one. Secondly, what got you into PR? Like, what got you into this space? That's important, because you don't want somebody just that was like, oh, one day I was tying my shoe and there you go, it happened. You want to kind of know a little bit about them and why they're in that space. Third, let me say this. One question you don't want to ask is, well, what can you do for my brand? Because every brand is so different. And just because you're on a discovery call right at that moment, this is just introductory, right? We have our first call where we look at everything. Now, I'll say right off the bat, I'll say, okay, because I've had that question, what can you do for my brand? I said, well, from what I'm hearing you say, these are the things that you need, and we specialize in this, So instead of asking someone, well, what can you do for my brand? Ask them, based off of my need that I'm expressing, where do you see that your company can help me with?
Got you.
That question is so different versus what can you do for my brand? Too. It feels different, right? It's so different. So that's a third question. Fourth question is asking them, like, currently on their roster, do they have anyone doing what you're doing? Because if that's the case, then that can be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for us, we have Melissa Odom. She is #1 vegan skin spa and skincare in Louisiana. We don't have any other skincare brand currently on our roster, right? Because it eliminates direct competition. It eliminates us trying to, because ideally they would want the same magazines, right? Or the same something. So it keeps that down. So you want to know like where they're currently at to make sure that you're not going to be put on a back burner. And then lastly, you want to find out about their systems and how well they are with communicating. Why? Because you're having a publicist. Communication is key. Right. So how often do we communicate? What does the communication system look like? How often do we get reports? Like, how can we measure the success of a campaign? Like, ask things like that, because those things do matter. Because if they don't have the proper systems in place to cater to your brand, then,
I'm over here laughing to myself because I'm having like PTSD.
What happened?
No, because I like some years ago, it could have been like maybe like 3 years ago or something. I'm asking these questions selfishly, because like I had somebody who was supposed to be doing, PR for me, and nothing happened. So I was just like, okay. And as far as like the meetings and stuff, wasn't meeting me when she said she was going to meet me and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm firing you. Like, it's over. Like, she was like, what happened? Like, what? I was like, do I really need to explain? Like, I'm not an explainer either. Like, what it is.
Like, we haven't talked since the day I signed this contract, girl.
Yeah, like, cut it out or whatever. Anyway.
Another thing, like a red flag to look out for, and I'm glad you said that, is guarantees. Like, if a publicist is guaranteeing you anything, run. Because it's not guaranteed, right? Like, that's completely unethical. We can't guarantee anything. Like, if I send you a pitch and let's say you've done that episode already, you'll say probably, hey, Milan, unfortunately, you already on the episode like that. That's an interview that we didn't secure. We didn't secure that. But if I guaranteed and said, yeah, girl, I can guarantee I'm getting you on Friends of Beauty, and then Friends of Beauty come back and say, we did this already, and I'm like, unfortunately, they've done it. But I guarantee that it could happen.
Right.
Guarantees can't be made. We don't know editorial calendars of these outlets. Editorial calendars are so different. We don't know the journalist's focus at that moment. It may not be that, like, what we're trying to present at this moment. It's not to say that it won't be here 6 months from now.
Right.
But if your contract is up in 6 months and we didn't secure that, but we guaranteed it, it looks bad. We can't guarantee that we're telling you to do this type of reel that off the first one, it'll go viral. It's just no guarantees can be made. So if a publicist is making guarantees, that's kind of a red flag, because you can't. That's like a lawyer making a guarantee they can get you off of a murder trial.
Right.
They can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
It's not up to you. I can present the case. I can work in the best of my ability and my expertise, but I cannot guarantee we're going to win this case.
Right.
I'm confident. I have a high success rate.
But you can't
guarantee. But I can't guarantee that.
Yeah. What's the in your opinion, like, what's the difference between like press and public relations?
So press is more that media stance, right? Press is media. It's definitely media. It's the how can I put this in non-textbook terms? Press is telling people about your brand, why they should love it, getting them informed, all those great things. Public relations is making the media aware of who you are so they can then tell your story. Public relations is making the connections that you want to have to brands, to your consumer, to other individuals that you may have not reached. Public relations gives you honestly bragging rights. Mm-hmm. Because you can, hey, how are you? I'm gonna forward this to my publicist. You're not gonna say, hey, how are you? I'm gonna forward this to my press.
Yeah.
So there's two different things. One is an action that is working for you. One is an action that works for you long term, right? Because hiring a publicist can be 6 months, but the press is up there forever.
Got you. So the publicist helps you get press.
The publicist helps you get press. Press does not help you get a publicist.
Got you. How can brands go about getting press on their own if they don't have the resources at the time to hire a publicist?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I actually have a whole box, and I'll send you the information so you can share with your audience, but it's called Be Your Own Publicist Box. And inside of that box, we give you the pitching template, we give you a media list template, we give you a press template. So what that looks like is showing you how to go research press. So really quickly, let's say you want to be featured on Essence, per se, for whatever you have. If you're a beauty brand, you go into the beauty column, you look at the articles that have previously been written. If you see an article that kind of relates back to what you're doing, your focal point, or you see that this journalist has a writing style or likes to write about things that may be your brand, you find their name, got the name. Sometimes on some of these websites, the email address is right there, if you're lucky.
Right.
If you're not lucky, you gotta do a little bit more research. So then go look for them on Instagram. Nowadays, 9 times out of 10, the email is in the bio. You can just click it, whatever. Milan, what if it's not there? Now you DM this person.
Yeah.
Hello, such and such. I would love to email you regarding X, Y, and Z. If this seems like something you're interested in, may I please have your email? Mm-hmm. If they say no, that means that they don't want to write about it. And that's okay. Move on, find somebody else. If they do, they'll send you their email.
Right.
Hard part done. You got the email now. Now you just have to write the pitch. So in our box, we have the pitch template. It literally is a PR for dummies template. You literally just insert here and we tell you what you need to insert.
Right.
Now, if you don't know your brand, then this is where the problem comes into play, what we talked about earlier. If you're not confident in it and you really don't know it, you probably won't find the right words to say. Mm-hmm. However, we tell you what to say, so that shouldn't be too hard. But you draft a pitch. And in that pitch, you really just want to compliment their work. You want to find how you really apply and can be a benefit to their audience. Because at the end of the day, remember, yes, they're telling your story to the world, but they're telling it to their audience ideally.
Right.
So you need to show what type of information you're bringing to their audience, and you need to show what type of value you're bringing to them. Again, show that you know their work, then relate it back to what you have going on, right? Give them your talking points, because you give them a narrative, and the narrative is like that headline. You know, like you see headlines all the time, and then inside of it is a bunch of wording, and the talking points are the wording. What we're doing today, how you're interviewing me, and these are your talking points. We're talking. Mm-hmm. I'm answering the talking points, but you already had that overall narrative, and that's what the episode will be called.
Right.
So you have that. Then you send the email. You send it off to press, right? You send it. You may not hear nothing back first day or two. You send another email, and you just have to follow up. But it's a process. And people hire publicists, one, for the connections, yes. But outside of that, we may not have every single connection, but it's our job to go make it. It's our job to make friends with media on your behalf. And it's also our job to pitch and follow up. People don't want to do that. That's why they hire publicists. But if you, like you said, if you're not there to the point where you want to hire it, those are your steps. It may seem like a lot of steps, it may seem tedious, which it is. But if you're serious about getting some room covered on your own, start there. And I would even recommend starting on a local level. Like, look who's in that area. Is it media? Is it podcast? Find that local. Start low and start pitching yourself. Don't just jump off and go to Forbes and Essence right away, but start local level. That's the easiest thing to achieve, is that local level press. I met a young lady in Miami not too long ago. She said she was pitching herself to their NBC station in Miami for 2 years before she got picked up.
Mm-hmm.
too, but she was dedicated, you know. So be dedicated, but start on that local level. You'll see results. Like I said, if you're interested in the box, I know you'll probably put it in the description
Yeah, let
notes
me
or
know.
yeah, whatever. Go pick it up. It helps. It's been effective. People have gotten in on BET with it. They've gotten in the XO Nicole, Hello Beautiful using our box, but it's effective. You just have to be dedicated to it. That's the difference.
Right.
You got to do it.
Right. And I love that you mentioned connection, because that's how Friends in Beauty started off as networking events. And then when the pandemic happened, then I pivoted a little bit. I wanted to do a podcast anyway, but I kind of pivoted so I could still be able to connect with people and meet people.
I
And
love that.
how do you, as a publicist, continue to build relationships in order to be able to, provide and connect your clients to certain people?
One, I just have to show up, right? And I can't be afraid to show up, or I can't be anti, because I can be anti. Let's be clear, I can be very anti. I'm very much in my space, love my house, don't want to go outside.
Are you a Virgo?
I am. How you know?
My mom's a Virgo, so I just pick up on the Virgo-ish. Yeah.
Guilty as charged. I'm definitely a Virgo. That was good. But I'm very much in my own space, in my skin. So I have to remember, like, okay, Lon, you got to get up, you got to go out, you have to go to these events, you got to talk to people, because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who's going to be an asset to your client, not even just for you, or it's literally for your client, right? They may become a client, but this is really for my client. So getting up and going to networking events. Like if I'm on Instagram and I may see a journalist, I may see somebody that's in the same industry as my client, I'll follow them, I'll introduce myself, I'll introduce our company and stuff like that, but taking that initiative and not waiting for things to come to my door. And I think that's where businesses fail, because so many times we sit here waiting for things to come to us. And it's like, the more you're sitting waiting for something to come to you, it's going to go past you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
I agree. What's your work-life balance like?
I told you, girl, listen, Fridays, and I will work on weekends sometimes, so don't think that I don't. But Fridays, I take it very lightly, and that's balance. Sundays is self-care Sunday. Like, I do not negotiate self-care Sunday. I don't care what is going on. I don't care if my friends want to hang out. I don't care. Sunday is me. Like, I love a good wake up in the morning, start cleaning your house, turn on a sermon, preparing dinner that day, getting in the bathtub. Like, that is my jam. Like, that is the perfect balance for me. And then even like at nighttime, like, because I'm a fiance, which means I am in a very much committed relationship. But even if I'm working, just still, sit there with her, or just be in her space, in her presence, that's balance. Because sometimes we get so consumed at work, we may like stay. I will come out my office. Like, I won't stay in my office up until it's time to go to sleep. Just come out. Like, people think like, oh, I'm still working. But if the person understands what you have going on and where you're at in your business, your career, then being there, being very much present, I think is important in your relationship. Being present is still a balance.
Yeah.
It's when you're not present and you're just like, okay, well, I'm in bed, we're going to sleep, but that's not present, So yeah, that's my balance. Just showing up and being present in every aspect of my life, but most importantly for myself. Because if you're not present for yourself, you don't love yourself, you're not catering to yourself, you can't love your friends, you can't love your partner, you can't love what you do, you can't be there for your clients. So just making sure that I do take those moments for me, because I am the vessel that keeps everything else going. And if this vessel is dried out,
ain't nothing popping.
So you ain't got to worry about a work-life balance at that point.
I love that. What are you working on your legacy to be? Like, at the end, like when they talk about Milan, like, what do you want them to say about you and like your company and how you contributed to the world?
Yeah, I think that's good. I just always want to be, I said vessel already, but a vessel, like just contributing and being a catalyst of change for people and just impacting them in whatever way they need it. And I think that's important to me. Like, I always want to make sure, like, when I'm a friend to my friends, like, was I a friend when you need it? I think that's important. So when people say things about you when you leave, for me, it was, when I needed her, she was there. Or when it came to my business, she was dedicated. She showed up for me. Those things matter, because you don't want to be a person that no one really cared for, or they couldn't rely on, or they didn't think, because my friends, though, we don't have to talk. I will see my friends text me all day, every day. because I'm busy and will not text back. But the moment I see a SOS,
right.
It's like, it's one of those things, but they understand, but they know. And I think that's important, that I'm always reliable. I always show up, and being a selfless person is one thing that I really take pride in. Like I'm not a selfish person. I try to be as selfless as possible. I try to understand every single person where they're at in the best of my ability. That's why I always tell people, like, communicate with me where you're at so I can understand you, and I put an expectation, and that's not where you're at. But if you communicate with me, then I can meet you where you at. If you don't, then I can't meet you there. So I think that's the biggest thing for me when it comes down to like that legacy piece.
Nice. What's next for you? Anything exciting coming up?
Girl, no. I have my goal this year was to focus on everything that we currently have going on, because it seems like every single year since I started my business, I done added something on my plate. So the biggest thing is just nurturing everything that I currently have going on and making sure that every aspect of those is thriving to the best of its ability before I do anything else.
Yes, I love that. That's how I am. I'm always piling stuff on. I'm like, first of all, you need to get some help before you pile anything else on your plate, okay? Because even my friends give me ideas and stuff, and I'm like, that's cool and all, but until I get some help, we're gonna have to table this conversation, because I can't do everything by myself.
Absolutely, I agree, and that's, like I said, that's where I'm at right now with everything. I have the becoming a publicist, cohort coming back, but it's looking completely different. So again, I'm not adding anything new. I'm just nurturing that. So I'm going in, I'm changing the structure of the program, how it looks. It's been here. We've had 3 successful cohorts, but I know we can do a lot more. I think we can provide a lot more. So now that I know that, we're changing that. The Be Your Own Publicist box, that's been around for the last 3.5 years.
Okay.
I've gotten way better with public relations, right? I'm a way better publicist than I was 3 years ago. So we're going in and we're updating that box. We're fitting it to where we're at now. Like where we're at now, we've had Forbes interviews, we've had, different things that have happened. So now it's like, okay, we know a different type of pitching style. Let's go ahead and update that so other people can be successful. So like I said, it's just focusing on that and just being the best that we can be in Umanagement, the podcast, bringing back the entrepreneurs brunch after 2 years of a pandemic and not doing anything in that brand and trying to literally pump life back into that. So my focus is so different than it is any other year. This year is about getting things how they need to be, because I turn 30 next year. At that point in time, I would have almost had Umanagement, almost 10 years at that point. Because I started when I was 21, 2 years later, we would be, because I started at 21, but I was going to be 22. So yeah, I would be 2 years when I turned 30 from having a company for 10. I don't want to wait to 10 to officially say I'm stepping away from the business. I want to have 30 be 30 for me and actually understand what that looks like without the stress factors of a company and the weight of it being just strictly on you.
Okay, 30 is fun, whatever. It's cool here. It's a little ghetto, but it's cool.
It's ghetto at 30. Don't tell me that, because I'm gonna ask for it to go backwards, honey. But don't tell me that.
It's a little ratchet. It's good ratchet and stuff.
When did you turn 30?
Oh no, I'm 35. I just turned 35.
Why did I know that? Like I felt like I literally know your whole life at this point. Okay, so you've been in the 30s for 5 years now. So.
I've been here. It's locked in, and I can't wait for 40.
Okay. So we're ready for 40. Okay, well, I'm excited for 30. So I will definitely be leaning on you for advice in my 30s then, because I'm excited though.
You should be. This has been like such an amazing conversation. I'm so happy we were able to connect finally, and I learned so much about you. You're amazing. I just love it. But before you go, I have to ask you the rapid fire questions, the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions. So whatever comes to your mind first, just like spit it out.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. What are the top 3 keys to your success so far?
Oh, top 3 things. Eating and not missing to eat. Dedicating that time for myself and understanding where I lack, what my weaknesses are, and not thinking that everything I have is a strength, because that is a complete lie. You can't do everything. Like, I'm nobody's graphic designer. Canva is my best friend. Shout out to Canva girl, because that's her. But just understanding that I'm not great at everything, and that's okay. And that's made me successful, because if I haven't ate, I'm mad and I don't want to work. If I haven't taken time for myself, I don't feel complete, I don't feel focused. And if I'm trying to do everything, I'm burnt out.
Right.
There's no success in either of those. None. I know you can contest when you're hungry, you're probably not the nicest person in the world.
Right. No energy or anything.
Nothing. It doesn't work. So those are my top 3 things.
Cool. How do you measure your success?
By how my clients feel.
Okay.
How my clients feel. If my clients aren't happy, then that means I did not do a good job, because I'm in a service-based business. I'm here to service them, to make them happy. So if they're not happy, if they're not liking what they see, and let me rephrase that. If I have provided results and they don't like it, because people can just not be happy just in general, and you have done all that you can, but if they're not necessarily happy with the results that we provided, then that doesn't mean that we've done, a great job 110%. And I aim for 110%. I hate when people say there's no such thing as 100%. Yes, it is, because when you were in school and took a test, you got 100. So yeah, it is.
Okay. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, the best advice that I've ever received. It's my favorite scripture. Faith without works is dead. That's the best advice I have ever received in my life, honestly. And I say that all the time when they say, "Well, you want to leave people with that?" Because you have to have faith, but you have to work in that faith. You have to be dedicated. And when I say work in that faith, I mean, like, when things are failing, don't try to turn to something else, or don't, try to overcompensate. That's that time when you had that meeting with God and you ask him for his guidance and you put all faith and trust in him. You have to work in your faith. You have to work in your business, because you can't ask him for something, but you're not showing up in it. You can't ask him for more money, but you're abusing the little that he's giving you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to work in that faith. So that's the best piece of advice. The Bible, that's my thing. Okay, that's my advice right there.
You are a living testimony to that quote, for sure. What advice would you give to someone, I guess, who is just ready to give up? Maybe they've gotten representation before. I don't know. Maybe they have a publicist and it's been a couple of years. I'm making up something, but what would you get to a brand person, a brand owner who's just ready to give up on, I guess, the visibility that they want to have for their brand and getting their brand out there to the masses and getting press and all of that? They're over it.
They're so over it. It's a bad taste in their mouth. Is what you're trying to say. It's a bad taste. Think about it like this: for any brand that has been through something, where your brand was and where it currently is 2 different places, right? You wouldn't want somebody to not try your brand out again, or you wouldn't want somebody to walk away from your brand because of where it was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So if you had a bad experience then, don't bring that experience into another part of your life, into another part of your business, because the person that you're probably going to find in that part was not that same person, literally not the same person that you encountered years prior to or months prior to. Mm-hmm. Think of it that way. Don't give up just because you had one mishap. Your business is about trial and error. If you didn't go through that trial and error, you wouldn't know how to identify the right person now.
Right.
So just be grateful that you did go through that experience and you got that taste in your mouth, because now you know exactly what taste to avoid. Just as well as you may have ran into a bad formula in your business, you know not to go back and use that formula again.
Period. I love that. What else can you say? What's a resource that has helped you in your business that you can share with the Friends of Beauty community?
Books.
Mm-hmm. Books. What's your favorite one? Or one of your favorites?
One of my favorite books, and I'll share it with you. I wish I had them with me, but it's a series of them, and it's Managing Day to Day. That's one of my favorite, but it's a series of them. So the series is my favorite, and I'll share that so you can hyperlink it on the description tab. But they literally give you gems. Like, it talks about one of my favorite quotes in there: "There's no such thing as multitasking." And when you think about it, you're like, that's true, because multitasking, yes, I'm doing a lot of things at one time, but am I accomplishing anything?
Right. No.
So, and I'm a horrible person for that, because I have about 50 tabs open on my computer. And when I see that, I literally remind myself of that because I'm sitting here clicking through tabs. So now when I see that, I minimize all this, I close them out, and I only focus on the tabs that I need at that moment.
Right.
But that came from a book. And then my second book would be Principles by Ray Dalio.
Okay.
He's Diddy's mentor. And when I saw the interview with him and Diddy, and I saw Diddy like still like, he's like, I read this book often, I went and picked it up instantly. The book is about this thick, y'all.
Okay.
But it's so good. It has so many different things in there because he talks so much about his life, but he also gives you principles to life. You know, and those things are important. We do need principles. We do, you know, we need to follow something. And what they say, if you want the best kept a secret, you put in the book because you won't read them. So think about that.
Exactly. I love that. So the last one, I just want you to fill in the blank and say, my name is blank, and the key to longevity and success is like whatever you think it is. Okay.
My name is Milan Mobley, and the primary key to longevity and success is routine.
That's the first time we've had routine, because people normally say consistency, but I feel like routine is different than consistency.
It is, because you can have a routine and not be consistent at it.
Ooh, so a routine as far as like, today I'm doing this, today, like, or is that like a schedule?
Routine, so it could be you waking up meditating every day, or whatever you do to start your day. So for me now, I've gotten so strict and focused on making sure I meditate and get my mind centered for the day. That's thing right there. It doesn't have to be like literally from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, but finding some form of routine in your day, because then as you start practicing those more and more, you'll get more consistent. You gotta remember, it's like a cause and effect method. You know, things have changed, things promote change. So you have to think about that, like what is something that drives change, and whatever the case is. And for me, it's routine. So that's what I believe. I believe routine is one of those things that's good for longevity and success, because once you got those things programmed in your mind, it becomes a second nature for you.
I love that. I love that. Before you go, share all of your social media information, where you want people to find you, your website, anything you want to share.
Yeah, so Friends in Beauty, it was a pleasure. Hopefully you guys will come over to Your Bossiest Friend podcast and listen to us too. You know, you got to listen to both of us. You can't listen to one and not the other, okay? Because you got Friends here and then you getting bossed up over there. So make sure you look for us on Apple Music at that. But if you want to stay connected just on a more personal level, follow me on Instagram at Milan Mobley. That's TheeMilanMobley. That's my Twitter. My Facebook is Milan Mobley. Really don't find me on there because I probably will never see that you message me because I hardly get on. But if you really want to kiki, you know, and be cool, then Instagram is where it's at. And if you want to see me talk my best sugar honey iced tea, then Twitter is definitely where you should find me.
I love that. Thank you so much for this. This was like truly a pleasure. I know it's so many gems sprinkled throughout here, and I just can't wait to listen back to it and for the Friends of Beauty audience to hear it. But thank you so much for doing this. Like this is a treat for me. So
thank you. This is a treat for me. I feel so honored. Like I said, when you asked me, I'm like, you want me? But no, I'm so excited I could do it. I'm looking forward to many, many more episodes from you, because you just hit 100. So I'm just excited to see where this podcast grows to, because I'm definitely seeing it in Apple's top 10 very, very soon.
Thank you. From your mouth to the ears of the gods. Yes.
Atmosphere.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, #Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.